What we're talking about here, Gene, is things that you should not say first thing in the morning to your
soft
significant other.
soft skills in your marriage.
Yeah. And, I said it. I told you just a minute ago. I almost said this morning as I was pouring a cup of coffee and I could feel the conversation starting behind me. I'm not ready for humans yet.
Yeah,
But I rethought that.
as you should.
And I call that 22 years of marriage. Hit the thing. Seriously, though, I was not ready for humans.
Yeah. I feel you. Sometimes it feels like that.
Oh, man. So today's episode is all about soft skills.
All
Why are
about
they so hard?
the soft skill.
And you know why it's about soft skills?
Why that?
Because if you have a team that's good at it and you're good at it, you have to be good at it first. Because then you'll attract the people that are good at it.
Okay.
Then your retention goes up.
Retention.
And you don't have to recruit as much. Because you get people who like to work together. I know. We had this conversation. You're just not nice. No, we had this conversation. We may have had it on the show. I can't remember. But just talking about how at that one event that we had, the design leadership camp, the first one, there are like 30 people around a table that are running some of the best teams in the world at Disney, at Google, at Amex, at, all over, these great names to drop. But one person asked the question, how many of you fired somebody for a hard skill in the last 6 months? Right? How many of you fired somebody because they could not do their job? And only one hand out of 30 went up.
Right.
She then asked, how many of you fired somebody for a soft skill in the last 6 months? And before she could finish saying it, like half the room, the hands went up.
Yeah.
And you're like going, okay, it's not that you aren't great at building these apps. It's that you're an asshole. And there was a rule that I'm sure you heard about. But you know what? It's not even just being an asshole, right? It's like we act like and soft skills is either, oh, no, he's nice. He's got great soft skills. Or she's mean. She has bad soft skills. That's not what it is at all. There's a lot more to it.
I like how you broke it down.
Yeah?
Yeah. Communication skills, flexibility, motivation, organization, and compassion.
There you go.
I like those. It's almost like, how many of them is there? 6. It's almost like the 6 cardinal rules of soft skills.
Wow. That's amazing. Well, and the thing is, after 6, I was tired and I wanted to go to bed. So, yeah, let's dig into this a little bit, right? So
being well rested before you go to work is probably a soft skill.
It could be, or a great plan.
A really good plan.
I think, so is taking care of yourself?
That's a good plan, but I don't know if it's a soft skill.
Yeah, because I mean,
probably should be.
Think about how long we've been on this planet. Some of us longer than others,
right?
And we're still figuring out how to take care of ourselves.
Yeah, pointing at you, Smith.
This guy.
Look at that.
This guy. That's really nice. You've got a great camera there.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's start by. I think the biggest soft skill is how we interact with others, right? Mm-hmm. And
for sure,
probably part of why our friendship started, right? Because you could tolerate me.
I was going to say it's because I have the ability to put up with a lot of bullshit,
and I have the ability to generate tremendous amounts.
It is a perfect relationship.
Tremendous amounts of that you then deal with. But I mean, if we think about it, communication skills, this is a big place to start because most of us don't do a great job of listening. We hear about it all the time. Active listening. You know, people have tried to put other words around just listening. I think you're listening, but I'm not sure you heard me. You know, all of that kind of stuff that just shuts an asshole like me down. Gene, why would you let me call myself that?
It's your show.
Oh, wow.
It's your show.
Oh, and now it's my show?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you just cut yourself out of 50%
of stuff.
Millions of hours.
I'll take it.
No, but what do you think about, like, when you think about bad communication skills, does somebody come to mind?
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about that. Like,
well,
what comes to mind?
I'm going to talk about myself and just say that anytime that I can remember that I've been confused over something or I made a mistake because I didn't do something the way someone asked, I can pretty much remember that it was because I didn't pay attention.
Yeah. Or did you get frustrated though?
I did, yeah. Or you thought you paid attention, right? Because I don't know that it's like you're just a jerk and you don't pay attention. I think you can think you're paying attention, but you're distracted. Like, how many times you talk to somebody and they're looking at their damn phone?
Oh, I mean, constantly. Like, sometimes I'm talking to myself and I catch myself looking at my phone while I'm talking to myself. I'm like, could I have your attention, please?
Yeah. Is it rude to do that? Is it rude to kind of like, hey, this is important?
Well, that's it, right? Then do you become the person?
You're like, wow, he's pretty pushy. I mean, I wanted to not pay attention in peace.
Let's dig into this because maybe we can't cure cancer, but maybe we can help people from getting punched. So when somebody's looking at their phone and you're trying to talk to them, I did this once, and I'm not I'm married 20 years. I'm not saying that it was everything's been wine and roses because it has not. I mean, look at me. But one thing you can do when you're talking to somebody and they're looking at their phone is text them.
Oh shit. That's kind of a passive-aggressive move.
So it is so passive-aggressive.
Okay, cool.
So I was thinking maybe this weekend we could, and then you just send a text, hey, do you got a second?
I don't think I'm sharp nor fast enough to be able to pull that one off.
I only did it once and it was not worth it. I thought it was really funny and it was not worth it.
Yeah, the blowback from that is like,
yeah.
I will say I have been in a meeting with some people that were on my team and I could tell they weren't paying attention. And I did text him. I was like, hey, eyes up. And he's like, oh,
nice.
Like that. Like, hey.
What about this? This is a real thing. I like where we're going now. Technology is automating poor soft skills.
I think it might be.
When it gives us these auto responses.
Right?
Right. So I know sometimes I'll send a message out to somebody and I'll get back okay. Now, I am one of those people who words like sure.
You're like, I'm going to spiral on this, okay.
Whatever. You know, whatever. You may think whatever doesn't belong in there, but I will make the argument that okay, sure, and whatever are kindred words, right? But
they might be.
When somebody is, and the checking messages on the watch is the one that gets me the most.
Yeah, because they think they're being sneaky.
Well, it could be that, or maybe, or they don't even. Then they just kind of look at it and they're like, and then you see them push something, and basically they're pushing one of those auto responses, and you know when they did that to you. And the thing is, it's like it's like Wonder Woman just like deflecting incoming messages.
Yep.
But you don't have to do that when there's a real person in front of you.
You don't. This is sidetracking this whole conversation, but
I don't care. Like, I like this.
Like, do we really need to respond that fast? Like, one of the things I think all that's done is it's made us feel like we have to respond faster than we really need to. Because just because somebody texts you, it doesn't mean you have to respond within 18 seconds. Like, you can take 5 minutes.
You can take a day.
You can take a half a day. Yeah, you could, like, even if you're, driving your car, you probably shouldn't text right away because you're like, boop, I mean, you should just be careful.
I want to watch you drive like that.
I know.
So, I mean, thinking about this, okay, so when I got pulled out of work and wasn't able to do my day job, my bureau stuff, I still was hanging out with the bureau socially, but I wasn't able to do all the moving, the behind the scenes stuff. I had somebody who was helping out with my email, right? Katie, awesome. And she basically, we just set up some folders, right? Which was forward to Lori, if it was something about an event or whatever.
Right.
Reply, if it was something I need to reply to, right? Or archive, right? And so if it was just somebody replying to something, but there was no need for a response, she, put it in the archive folder. I found a few in there where I was like, but I would respond to that, right? Like a lot of people might not, but I might want to say, wow, I really appreciate that. Thank you. That little extra email, that message back probably wasn't that necessary.
Okay.
But it felt good to me. I also think that one of my challenges is I hate somewhere inside me, I hate not having that last thank you. And maybe it's wanting the last word. I don't think it's the same thing.
Last word freak.
Well, but last word means you want your idea to be the last idea, right? Like if you're just thanking somebody, is that a last word? Shit.
I think it is. It depends. Is it a sincere thank you, or is it just like, I got to close the loop? Thank you.
There you go. But see, this gets, okay, now we're getting back into the whole over communication problem.
Trying, man.
Well, I'm just going to say this, and then we'll get back over to the soft skills. We reap what we sow, right? It's whatever we put out in the world comes back. We attract what we put out there. It's like, so if you have way too many inbound emails like me, it's probably because you don't let the conversation stop. Okay, let me ask this. If after somebody does something, you send a GIF that just is like an appreciation GIF, is that a last word?
Yes. Yeah, words and GIFs are the same thing. Emojis too.
Well,
But isn't continuing the communication sort of your job?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what you're here for.
I mean, it is.
But if you're in business development or whatever, that's what you're there for too.
But if you get to a point where you can't manage your own inbox, all right, we've definitely gone off course here. So coming back around to soft skills, we obviously have them in droves. So communication's huge. Making sure you're listening to people and making sure that when you say something, you say it in a way that they can hear it, right? Written communication can be so tough because extroverts and introverts living together, right? That was a Ghostbusters reference. You're welcome. It was dogs and cats. Okay, come at me.
Hysteria.
I know exactly. Is that true? Yes, Your Honor. That man. Okay.
Where do these stairs go? They go up.
Oh my God.
That's not in the movie.
So, this is why we are friends. I almost said best friends, but I want to put pressure on you or upset other people. Okay. So, you poked your little lip out. I want to bird land on it. Okay. We're besties.
Yes, good.
Anybody listening to this right now, I hope you're just enjoying the background noise because we're obviously not bringing the content today.
I disagree.
Well, good. I'm glad for you. See, last word. So making sure that we not only listen, but we respond in a way that people can hear. And this, there was a question in the Bureau Slack, and I knew the person who was asking, I knew they knew this, but I just felt like I had to say it. But they were saying they were hiring somebody, or they had a relative, like a nephew or something, that was becoming a coder, and asked, what are the most important skills? And I immediately went to communication, not anything around technology.
Yeah.
I mean, super smart, successful business person. She knew that. But for me, it was like, I'm also thinking, okay, there are a lot of people in this channel watching this, and I think it's important. And so even with that, just the way that I said it, I think I did okay, because I didn't say, well, communication skills, of course. I said, well, you already know this, but communication skills are super important, right? And I think that's the other thing. It's like making sure that our words don't attack that other person's foundation
Hmm.
or make an assumption
Yeah.
that they don't know this.
Right.
I think all of those things are like super important.
They're helpful for sure. A little humility goes a long way.
Well, there you go. Humility. I've
Yeah.
heard of it. It's like, it's a lot. Isn't that kind of like Sasquatch though?
It burns a little bit.
It does. Does it burn a little bit? Yeah. Okay. You really need to get back on track there. I'll tell you the biggest soft skill that I suffer with, that I am not good at, is flexibility.
Mm.
I get in my mind that things are going to be a certain way. And as soon as it starts to divert from whatever this predetermined outcome was that I have,
You don't like it. Why is that though?
It's a great question. I mean, and sadly, I put this in my kids too, right? Like I can see it with them and I'm like, well, what? No, we're just leaving like 10 minutes later. It's not like the whole day's ruined. And then I'm like, oh, that would be because I get frustrated if things don't go the right way. Why is it? I could blame my dad. He's not going to show up and say I'm wrong. Wow, I know, right? Too soon.
No, it works, but I'm calling bullshit on it.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. I mean, I kind of want to take it back to, I guess, just that human condition, imposter syndrome, feeling like you really don't know what's happening. And then you tell yourself this story about this is the way it's going to happen. And as soon as it doesn't go that way, that little voice in your head just goes, you don't know anything. You have no idea what's happening. Either that or drinking in the morning. One of those two. See, now that was because I got a little real with myself and I had to reflect it with the old drinking in the morning joke. I don't know why people use milk on their cornflakes.
Just use whiskey. How about motivation?
Yeah, honestly, this is the one that I struggle with today. I couldn't get motivated to do anything this morning.
Okay.
Here I am sitting quiet.
So how is it a soft skill?
Motivation's a soft skill.
You're talking about your ability to motivate others.
Your ability to motivate others, absolutely. And I think the only way that rings true is when you can motivate yourself. When you can stay at that high level of energy, because people will sense it otherwise, right? I mean, we're social creatures. We sense things from each other. We know when somebody's not being honest with us, and we know when we're okay with that, right? But I think when it comes to motivation, especially for leaders, you have to really believe in whatever it is, right, that you're motivating others to do. You really have to believe that, yes, this project is important, and here's why. Right? You have to show up with that kind of belief system that, the work that we're doing does matter.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, nobody else is going to care. Right?
No, they probably already don't. You're going to have to carry that for them, probably, as the leader.
Yeah, I mean, you got a good point there. But people follow what other people do. I mean, you've probably seen this, right? Like when they would, like, I'm sure Candid Camera did it way back in the day. I'm sure that other like punk shows have done it, but where you can just get people to start standing in a line.
Yeah, no, stand there.
And other people will get in the line.
Right.
Or one person looks up and everybody stops and starts looking up. We did this at what was it, at UX Mad, right? At Jim Rimsick's event, where I just tested. I just pulled out my phone to see if other people would do it, and it like went right down the line. You kind of see it. So it's the same with motivation as it is with anything else. If they see people being excited about the work, if they see people wanting to do the work, if they see people wanting to be a part of the organization and the company, now when you're in charge of it, it's a little bit different because they know you've got a vested interest. But that's where you have to put the vested interest in them. And understand what is it in this project that would make that developer or this writer or that project manager get excited.
I would say that if you're in a leadership position, it's even more on you, because like the response of not being motivated is going to be exponentially larger from team members down the line.
And did you just call me a moron?
No.
Okay. Because it sure sounded like it. No, but so, and I think one of the ones that needs to go in here, maybe even more than motivation, is just empathy, right?
Right.
It's like, if you can understand what motivates somebody, then you can help them find whatever it is in the work that's got to get done. Even if it's not this project, it's not this work, right? If it's like, hey, I know that this doesn't feel the best. I know this doesn't feel like we're moving forward. You're doing something you've done a ton of times. But if we do this, it helps us fund that, or it helps give us time to learn this, right? Well, so you got to tie it together, though.
You do, and in a very, when we're talking about empathy, it really can help stop things like overreactions, and it can really help communication too. Because if you just have a little empathy for somebody, they could just be having a bad day, and that can go a long way in terms of like figuring out what the hell's going on, which kind of helps the whole engine run. If you just have somebody who's having a bad day and they react to something, maybe you shouldn't overreact too. You should identify what's going on. I mean, I think that's a soft skill that more so nowadays, like people at large in this country, I think we just don't have it, and we're not practicing it,
No,
because it's just like, we're looking for shit to jump on people over.
So compassion was one of the ones that made the list in terms of soft skills. And
empathy, compassion. I think they're very similar.
They are. I mean, they're definitely similar, right? Like one is more about understanding somebody may be going through something. Another is trying to understand what they're going through.
Exactly. There you
go. And I think when I look at what you just said, I mean, the country, the world, definitely on our teams. Yeah. I mean, sometimes people are going through a bad thing. I was talking with somebody yesterday who I severely disagree with on just about everything on the planet. And all I could hear myself in the back of my head say was, who hurt you? Like, who raised you and you kind of fell into this belief pattern, but then look at who raised me and I fell into my belief pattern. Yes, humans are going to have challenges, and humans are going to have beliefs that other humans don't understand and are diametrically opposed to. But unless they are actively hurting someone, which a lot of thoughts do, I'm way off the deep end now.
No, I think if you put it in the sense of the mission, which is like, let's say you have a project and it's getting the project done. Having these like existential conversations about, political views or religious views or views about viruses, whatever, like it's not going to help get the project done. You know what I mean? If you want to turn getting a project done into, should I be here? Those are two very different problems that we need to solve in different ways. And I think it's the difference between like empathy and compassion. You can disagree with someone and have empathy. Right? You can know that they're going through something and not care about what it is in terms of responding and working on a project. You know what I mean? Just shut the hell up. Like let's work on the project versus let's go have coffee and find out why you're so angry or sad. Those are different things. And I think, from a leadership perspective too, you have to detach the two. You know what I mean? You got to be able to shift gears, I think.
Well, first of all, I do want to go get coffee and talk about why I'm angry or sad, but let's finish the episode first. This is interesting. I don't.
You might disagree with me.
I might, but I'm not sure. Honestly, it's like I know we're almost knitting a little bit here.
Yeah, I think so.
But I think the important thing is if you can make that move. I mean, compassion is important, but empathy, I think, wins. Empathy takes more time.
It does. In its terms of soft skills, it's a skill you have to develop for sure, because
Oh yeah.
it makes you have to get out of your own head, right?
Yeah,
And I think most people respond from that point of view. They respond from, well, I'm having a bad day too.
well, yeah, we all got
And it's
wires. These wires didn't just show up this way. We've
Mhm.
been working to be who we are our whole lives.
Mhm.
And all of these different, like, we all know this, but all of these different things that happen form us into the person we are. That's why we're all different. It's like if you look at, it's really weird, but I'm going to compare it to a chess game. If you look at a chess game, those first few moves are just predictable. We
Sure.
all start off the same way. But then somebody does something a little different, and suddenly everything, butterfly effect, right? Like everything changes, and we all have these points in our lives that set us off on this course, right? If you ever do like a life plan, or you sit down with somebody and kind of go back over your life, you'll find these pivotal moments where everything changed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to what you just said, like really struck a chord about how somebody says something and you instinctively react.
Yeah.
And it's because it's challenging your belief system, right? Or you feel like you're going to lose something if you listen or if you give them what they want. But honestly, in almost every situation, not responding is better than responding.
Well, yeah.
Initially.
And you see this on social media like every 30 seconds of the day. Like, why are you like, you're clearly if the reason people are arguing on social media is not the argument, it's like so many other reasons why they're like typing that response, and it's rarely the actual being in the fray for the response.
No. Oh my God, soft skills in social media. Could you imagine?
That'd be awesome.
It would be.
No one would use it.
Well, I mean, maybe it wouldn't be as entertaining. Maybe it would
no
be
comments.
back to those, the origin days of I had a burger.
Yeah,
right?
Wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah.
I just want to see pet pics and what you ate for lunch. I really do.
Oh, come to the Bureau Slack.
And your kids.
Yeah. Man. I'm thinking about all the times, like, I mean, we've all done these tricks or heard of these tricks, like where you respond in an email and then delete it. I don't think you can just unwire yourself. And even with therapy and all these kinds of things that you can do, medical marijuana, you're still going to have that wiring. It doesn't go away. You're right. It takes a lot of work. It's, and that's, I think the biggest thing for me, and this has helped a lot, is I don't reply to emails when they first come in. And I don't, if I get a Slack message and I'm not sure about it, I don't reply to it right away. And this has been really only for the past few months, because I used to be in that cycle of, if I don't, it's going to overtake me. Right? There's so much coming at us that if we don't respond to it, it feels like we're going to lose our way.
I think you're right.
That we're going to be overwhelmed. And I think that's really helped a lot, because even when I then sit down, I mean, like any given morning, I'm going to get 30 or 40 inbound emails. Okay. And
oh yeah,
I mean, legitimate, like not spamish stuff, not that kind of
people.
stuff. But like people. And, I will scan them, and any of them that look like they're going to require a longer response, I mean, I leave them all until like a later point in the day, but then the ones that require that longer response, I may even leave overnight. And it's not because I don't want to reply to the person. It's because I don't want to just shoot out an instinctive response. I want to give myself a chance to think about it.
I think that's so important in business, in doing the work we do, is to do just that. Yeah. Take your time. You know what I mean? Like, I know there's a deadline and you got 5 projects going, but take your time. Like, respond thoughtfully, make sure shit's spelled right, like basic shit. I can't tell you, it's actually a pet peeve of mine, and I've gotten very pissed, and I never did anything to the person, but like, when somebody responds and you know that they responded on their phone and it's just like this gibberish, you're like, what are you talking about? or you ask 3 questions and they respond to 1. And you're like, great, you want to go back and answer the other 2? Put your phone down for 5 minutes and fucking read my email. Like, that's a pet peeve of mine.
Your soft skills are amazing.
But that just shows me that they're like, they lack those skills. They're not paying attention.
Yeah.
You know, it just tells me, wow, they're not paying attention, you know?
Yeah, I think there's something about, now, when you're in a conversation with somebody directly, obviously you can't just walk away and come back the next morning. Right? People hate email, but it does give us certain advantages. Exactly. Otherwise, it would be like, I had this vision of whoever you were talking to, and you just leave the room, and then they're asleep, and the next morning you're going, so anyway. And they're like, oh, Jesus, where did you come from? What?
I'm finishing our conversation.
Yeah. No, I just thought you'd like an answer 17 hours later.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's where the flexibility side comes in, and that's where improv comes in, right? It's like,
yeah.
And not that you're acting or playing, but that you can quickly get to a place where you can still be heard. And you know what my pet peeve is with me? When I go fast, I use the wrong spellings of words, and then I go back in and I see it immediately if I reread it.
Yeah,
like here and here.
I'm
there,
embarrassed.
All these types of things. But that's a trigger for me to know that I wasn't really thinking.
Which one makes you the most angry when you see it in other people?
When they do it?
Yeah.
I don't know that I get angry when other people do it.
I do. And the one that triggers me is apart. Like a space part and apart. And it's like, oh, you want to be apart from this project? You're fired.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. I don't really give a shit. But it does bother me when they can't get apart and apart right.
Yeah.
Because they have opposite meanings.
I want a t-shirt that just says working on my soft skills.
We left one out. Let's hit this last one. Organization.
Yeah. I mean, that one, it gets to that point of being able to trust other humans. And I think for me, organization is about understanding. I mean, it gets to delegation, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, I have to keep all my stuff together. But one of the interesting things that happened, again, when I had to kind of take this like absence, right? I had set to-dos. I used Todoist, right? To-do app. And I had set to-dos that would start every day, right? Like one was, think about the newsletter, right? One is, promote on social or whatever it might be, but just to trigger me. Oh yeah, I need to let people know there is a great event, or else they're not going to know to go to it.
Well, that's important.
Yeah, that's kind of a thing. It's not like people are sitting there going through my garbage trying to figure out what's next.
What's Carl coming up with?
Exactly. What could happen next? But that level of organization, to me, it just means that you have to get to a point where you can let go of stuff, and because otherwise you just get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm still, and the thing is, the newsletter hasn't come out yet. So like we're looking at a draft right now, and I've been getting some great support from Metis actually as they're going through and helping with a lot of things. But I need to go back through it and think about it, because I'm thinking maybe delegation is more of that soft skill than organization, or maybe they're separate. But really, you got to be able to keep things moving. Organization, delegation, prioritization. Like that's a huge one, is knowing what's important and what's not. Because sometimes we do stuff just because we've always done it.
Yep.
Yeah.
You ever have a problem with someone that you work with who has trouble prioritizing things, like things that are way more important, particularly with like client-facing things, like they treat everything with the same urgency?
I did. I mean, definitely in the engine days, we had some people who everything got the top priority, and it was more. If you were to think of it in terms of any kind of list, basically, it was more chronological than it was truly important, like level of importance, and that would be one of those things where I would, and I think this is a requirement for leaders, great leaders, to sit down and say, hey, show me what your priorities are right now so I can help out. And then if they show you like more than 5 things, that's not priorities. That's just a list.
Right.
That's stuff I got to do.
Yeah.
Right. But if a lot of times, and this gets back to communication, is if you haven't shared why something's important, they don't understand the context of what they have to do. How are they going to know what's more important?
That's right.
So I think that becomes a big thing. And also just when something new comes in hot for you as somebody who's leading a team, make sure you take the heat off if it's not as hot as the thing from yesterday, because you're feeling it now.
Yeah.
It's just like now you feel it and you're like, oh yeah, because you've already written off the other thing because you handed it off. Right. So if you're like, hey, we just got this new opportunity and I want to make sure that we move forward on it, and then you push that off, they may drop the thing yesterday, which was pay your taxes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of them has a big impact. The other one may have a bigger impact.
Yeah, so. I think that's something that we talked about, communication skills in whatever mode that you communicate in or cadence you communicate in. Make sure you're including prioritization as part of that. Whatever 1,000 points of light that you're using for your communication, make sure it's a big one. I would say that you're making sure you communicate prioritization. I found that some of the contractors we work with, and then my business partner, we were missing that, and for a while we were sort of like, I was like, what the fuck? Like, why do you keep harping on this one thing? And we never like discussed, well, this is actually important because this client keeps calling me over and over about it. Yeah. I was like, oh, well, when you said that, I was like, well, I'll just do that right now. Whereas before I was like prioritizing it myself.
Did y'all ever use the GAF index?
No, I don't even know what that is.
It's the give a fuck index. And so
that's good. Yeah.
So basically the GAF index, we used to do this at Engine, which was everybody had basically, you had like 5 cards with a 1 to a 5 on it. And we never really did it so much as the game, but we would just say, right. And basically, let's say it is bring on this new client. And somebody's like, my GAF is a 5. I really, really want this. And somebody else goes, well, my GAF is a 3. I mean, it'd be nice to have. And somebody else goes, my GAF is a 1. It's whatever, if it comes or it doesn't. Right. And then when you have the conversation, it's not like yes or no. It's like, well, this matters to you. So I'm cool with it. But it kind of forces you into this understanding that not everybody feels the same about everything. And that, I always thought that was a really powerful, and we only did it when we found ourselves in times of disagreement.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah. Some cool things. If Engine's so great, why don't you marry it? Whatever. A lot of people did the GAF index. I think it's really, really powerful.
Yeah, it's fun too.
Gene, we've come to that time.
What's your hot take, my friend? A lukewarm take?
We're just people. We're just people trying to do stuff.
That's right.
No, I mean, the hot take, I think, is that we all have different goals. We all have different aspirations. We all have different places we want to get to. And we need to realize that we can only go so far on these things together. Right? And then we're going to diverge. We're going to go into different places. But while we're on the same path together, I think that conversation and communication and empathy and listening and making sure that we're not getting ourselves overwhelmed so that we can't help others, I mean, that's the path forward, right? Like, as long as we're working towards the same goal and we can appreciate each other, humans can do some pretty cool stuff.
Just like Boba Fett learned.
Oh, is that the new one?
You ever watch that?
No.
You just outlined the whole story. It's beautiful.
Yes. Maybe I'll get some royalties. I'm excited about it. Gene, take care of yourself.
You too, man.
Because we're best friends.
No, don't make everybody else mad.